Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslak talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video, I want to have a call to PhD advisors, doctoral advisors, to really take your position very, very seriously. So if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I want to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. All right, so why am I actually saying to take your role seriously to all doctoral supervisors? So I have supervised different people at different times. Can't say I'm the best supervisor. Probably I'm not the worst supervisor. I'm probably in the middle, right, in terms of my capabilities. But I asked the community on this YouTube channel, if you go into community tabs, you can look at this in terms of the survey. And I asked them, who's your most trusted advisor? And the survey was put out for 24 hours, and I had roughly 25 respondents in those 24 hours. And here is the outcomes that we had. First one is 44% of those individuals reported that their doctoral advisor is the most trusted advisor that they have in their life. The next is a family member, 32%. Another one is other, 12%. Another one is spouse and partner, 8%. And the other one is friend, 4%. So that means that almost half of the individuals, they realize or they think about their PhD advisor, their doctoral advisor as their most trusted advisor in their life. So this is very important for you as a PhD advisor, if you're watching this, or a doctoral advisor, whatever you call your role. Realize that people look up to you, and it's very, very important to take your job seriously, and however that looks like for you and for your doctoral student that you're working with, right? So it's not, I'm not saying like that it's, I'm not saying that it's necessarily like you should drop everything and focus on this relationship 100%. You should just realize that people look up to you, and that responsibility is very, very important with what you are currently doing. So I thought, in terms of taking your role seriously, I have some suggestions that I've learned along the way. Might not be the sort of best suggestions, and as somebody that's a real human being, I might not practice these all the time, and I struggle with this as well. But these are things that I've learned in terms of me being able to take my role a little bit more seriously, and help out people when they do need it. And so here are some things in terms of doctoral supervision that I think are really important. The first one is just asking the other person, the student that you're working with, is how they're feeling. So this seems like a really squishy thing to say, but at the same time, with relationships, realizing how people are feeling in terms of that relational thing is really important. It's not just about output, and investing in the relationship is going to do a lot better in the long run for your for your productivity. And so there's actually a lot of research that looks at social capital, and that's really what it is looking at the relationships, right? So we have, in management speak, or economic speak, we have human capital, which is like skills and things like that you can invest in people. But then there's also social capital, which is the relationships, the sort of feelings and things like that between different relationships. And we know that investing in social capital does make a big difference in terms of the performance of a company, of an organization, of a team, or whatnot. So investing a little bit in terms of just asking simple questions like how they're feeling really does pay off in a long way. And other things, obviously having an open door policy, but as well as, so that means like if people want to stop in, they can stop in and whatnot. But the other thing is, obviously make sure your door is open when you're doing this, because you can run into issues. Let's just say that. But, giving hugs when they're asked or needed is really an important thing, because it is an emotional experience that we all go through. And so realizing that we do need hugs every once in a while it goes a long ways, and it doesn't matter who you are, and how old you are. Having that hug often feels really good when you're going through these experiences as a PhD student. You can watch some of my other videos where I talk into some of these things, of dealing with the emotional experience of doing the sort of PhD journey and research journey. The other thing that is maybe useful for you, especially if you are not in the business administration field, if you're watching this, I probably have a little bit more of a following in that field. But if you're a PhD advisor or supervisor in other fields like chemistry, physics, or that whatever it is, philosophy, invest some time into management books and thinking about how to manage human resources. So I want you to sort of think about yourself, not in terms of a researcher and I have to sort of optimize my performance and all that kind of stuff, but think of yourself as a manager and that you're investing in other people going forward, and you're trying to build a little team, a little organization that is going to thrive with or without you. And that's what you have to do in terms of investing in your human resources. That's really incredibly important for your team, for the performance of what you're doing. And as it gets bigger, right? So some of us have really big labs. Some of us, I don't know, maybe it's in a chemistry lab, you might have, 20, 30 people that are working for you. You probably begin to realize that that's important, and that you have to invest in managing human resources. But, all of us, doesn't matter how many people that you're managing, maybe it's just one or two people, one or two students, we still have to invest in understanding human resources and sort of the management stuff going forward. And that's going to pay off a lot in terms of developing your capability and as developing the other person's capability going forward. And it's an imperfect process, but at the same time, you have to make this sort of investment and realize what you're doing is important for that other person. The other thing to do is to meet with the doctoral students on a regular basis to help them build not only their sort of, professional career, which is what we do when we think about, right, in terms of paper writing and all that stuff, but also invest in their lives in balancing, who they are as a human being. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time and effort in terms of, investing as in themselves as a human being. I know that the people that I had worked with, advisors and things like that I had, they really spent a long time and a lot of effort in terms of investing in me as a human being. And I hope it's paid off. I don't know. I can't tell at this moment, but their efforts was appreciated on my side, and hopefully it's going to be appreciated on your side when you do that on your side, when you try to invest in them as a human being. So it's not just about performance, right? It's about many other things in their life that's going on, because you really just don't want, at the end of the day, you're not really looking for another paper publication. Some people are, and that's okay. But what you're looking for is like an acolyte, where somebody is going to go and share their story and share what you're about as a PhD advisor, and that's hopefully going to spread within the community, right? And that's an important thing to think about. The other thing to do is to really think in terms of how you would like to be treated as a human being, right? So that's an important thing, and the sort of golden rule that we have, which is pretty universal across cultures. Do unto others as you would have to do unto yourself. That goes a long ways, and so that's the Christian version, but there's basically the same sort of versions in many different cultures. That goes a long ways in terms of other people believing in you, and sharing this goodwill, because really you have to acknowledge and you have to realize that what we do is a small world, right? So that in your area, whether it's innovation, whether it is psychology or whatnot, cognitive psychology, is usually really small, right? And so there's many people that are out there that know who you are, and it will get out and it will sort of diffuse pretty relatively rapidly who you are as a human being with all these other people. And then those people tend to recommend you to other people that are, doing similar work and stuff like that. So if you're, what is called a good colleague, but really it's just you're a decent human being and that you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of your own performance for somebody else, that goes a long ways in terms of how other people are understanding you as a human being, right? So, I'm not patting myself on the back or anything, but this is a total waste of time on my side. It doesn't make me any sort of money that's significant. It makes enough to pay for a coffee a day at this moment. And really, I'm not doing it for that component of it. Well, there's potential, but at the same time, I'm doing this just to put goodwill out there, because I know that the goodwill does come back. You have to kind of believe in karma in the long it does come back, right? In a small world environment that we belong to, it does truly come back in many different ways, and it might not necessarily be in, maybe it's performance increase or salary increases and stuff like that, but it could come back and somebody just saying that you're a nice human being, and that goes a long ways in terms of you as a person, in terms of how you feel about yourself and what you're doing going forward. Because to know that you matter makes a big difference in terms of who you are as an individual. So that's all I want to talk about today in terms of investing in your PhD student. So if you are a doctoral advisor or a PhD advisor, or you're doing that for the first time, look at that survey, go into the community tab and look to see how many people actually answered that, and ranked above spouses, above friends and family, above all these other different people. They rank the doctoral advisors as their most trusted advisor. So take that seriously. Really acknowledge that it's an important thing and that relationships are an important special thing, and invest in it however you would like to invest in. So that's all I want to talk about with this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.